you seen Star Wars?
Well, it's another Wednesday, so that means another episode of the Book of Boba Fett, and today's episode is the third episode in the series, and it's called The Streets of Mos Espa, and thankfully it progresses the story in a meaningful way for the first time in the series. But before we get into today's video, please leave a like on the video and subscribe to stay up to date on the latest news in Star Wars. I like this episode because it progressed the story in a lot of ways the past two haven't. It seems like the past two episodes have really been focused on Boba Fett's past and not his future and not what's happening in the present. And of course, spoiler warning for anyone who doesn't want to be spoiled this episode, we did get a very small flashback. And I think that was the right step for this episode. It's not like they're reacting to our reactions from the past two, but at least thinking about how a lot of us who have had negative things to say about the first two episodes, a lot of people complained about the flashbacks. This one had a very, very small flashback, and we can go over that now, about Boba literally trying to get payment from the Pikes, and then he goes back to the Tusken Raiders. He finds out not only someone has been taking that payment, another tribe, presumably, or people on bikes. Maybe it's that biker gang who ended up killing the Tusken Raiders, but he does go back to see that the Tusken Raiders have died, or the tribe that he was with have been wiped out, and that's sad. It's kind of, not going to say it was expected, but I think this was what needed to happen for Boba to get out of the Tusken Raider tribe stuff and become what we see him as in the crime boss and what is it called, the daimyo or something like that, of Tatooine. One thing I loved about this episode, and if you guys know anything about me or been watching the channel for a while, I love crime. Like, not like committing crime, but like the crime lord, the mafia stuff, the crime families. Like, the Italian mob has always been my favorite genre of movies. I mean, Goodfellas, Godfather. I watched Donnie Brasco the other night. I mean, there's just so, even The Irishman. People don't like The Irishman. I love that movie. And so movies like that really catch my attention. And so one thing I loved about this episode is that they go into that a little bit more. They talk about the territories that are in Mos Espa, who protects what region, how Bib Fortuna ran things, the families that are running certain areas of Mos Espa and the territory. And then we see the Hutts come back, and I like how, like, almost immediately they come back, they send an assassin after him, which is Black Chrysanthemum. Black Chrysanthemum wakes him up in the middle of the flashback and just starts kicking Boba's ass. And I really liked the fact that they used him in that way, but I gotta be honest, man, that fight choreography was kind of, I don't know, corny? It felt a little cheesy at times. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but just, I'm not going to say I don't know how to explain it. I'm explaining it right now. It just looked weird. Like, I really felt like for a Star Wars show in an episode that for some reason that just didn't match what I was either used to in The Mandalorian or in other Star Wars projects, but I just for some reason thought that fight was kind of cheesy. And same with the group of people that Boba was working with, his new crew, but we'll talk about that in just a few seconds. But yes, Black Chrysanthemum goes in, he tries to, kill Boba. They end up trapping him, and as an apology, the Hutts give him a new Rancor, which I thought that little section was really cool. The sequence of him meeting the Rancor for the first time, dealing with it, learning about it, that kind of stuff I enjoyed about this episode. And I enjoyed the fact that the Hutts told him, hey, like, we're leaving, like, this is it. And he actually doesn't believe them. He believes, like, part of what they say about, like, there's other things, like the mayor has a lot of influence that he hasn't really shown his hand for yet. And Boba just straight up says, like, I don't trust the Hutts, that they're leaving and all that. And I think that we as an audience, we want to trust the Hutts, but I like what Boba's saying there. I like that Boba's like, no, we don't trust them yet. And so I think there may be something more with the Hutts in play down the line. I certainly hope there is, but I like that they're setting the stage for all the crime organizations to get involved in the, like, remainder of the series. I mean, we're going to be halfway on the next episode, so, we have, 5 more episodes to deal with these crime lords and organizations and the families. I'm really excited about all that. Boba, in this episode, because it is the streets of Mos Espa, he has to go to the streets. He has to, figure out what's going wrong, and people are coming to him. This one guy says, hey, like, these kids stole my water and shit like that. The kids that he deals with, I'm sorry, that was way out of place for me. It's funny seeing what people call Star Wars Twitter, because it's just the turmoil that happens on Twitter about Star Wars fans, and people like vehemently disagreeing on this one section. And you have people who are like, oh, it didn't look bad, like, I don't know why you guys are complaining about colorful bikes in Star Wars. Listen, if you've seen this episode, the new crew that Boba hooks up with, the little teenagers, they stick out like a sore thumb in this episode. And that is because they are on these, like, literal motorcycles. They look exactly like motorcycles that you would get from Earth, and they're extremely colorful. They're like red, blue, green, and yellow. And the rest of the setting is just sand and dirt and, like, just a very light tan, okay? Or not even tan, like beige almost. And so it really sticks out seeing these fucking bikes just ride around, and these, like, cyberpunk sci-fi kids who are Boba's new crew. I don't understand how people are acting like it's insane to say these look bad. It looked really, really, really bad. Like, for a show to have a big production budget that this one does, that looked awful. It looked out of place. It didn't look like... I'm not saying that, oh, this shouldn't be in Star Wars, because I see some people being like, well, maybe they got the bikes from, you know, Alderaan, or maybe they got them from Coruscant, or this other planet, and then took it to Tatooine. No one's saying the logistics of them having the bike is wrong. What we're saying is that the bikes look fucking awful. And not only is it the color that's weird to me, they straight up look like motorcycles. When I watch Star Wars, I don't watch it to see things that are from Earth and be like, oh, I recognize that. You're trying to go to a galaxy far, far away, so why do you have something that is it's literally just a motorcycle? I don't know why I'm rambling about this, I'm sorry, but I thought the kids were cringe beyond relief. I absolutely hated them, and I really hope they're not, like, a thing that continues, but they are going to be, so I'm not going to like that. This episode does leave you with a lot of questions of, first of all, you know, what's the mayor really up to, what's going on, and who is this new syndicate that runs Tatooine? That's what the Hutts were saying, but they never told you who, and I'm pretty confident it's going to be the Pikes. The Pikes have been a big thing so far in this series, and I actually really like that, because it's cool to see that crime organization. But we have to remember, who ran the Pikes before who ran the Pikes during the Clone Wars? At least at the end of the Clone Wars, it was Darth Maul, and then he brings Kira in. So it seems more and more, day by day, and episode, we see hints that Kira may be the one who's running the crime at the end of this series. Don't know when that's going to happen, but that would be really cool to see, and I am really interested in who is the syndicate that runs Tatooine. Last thing I want to say about this review is I really like the exploration of Tatooine. I thought it's really cool that we get to learn more about Tatooine, just like the streets and what's going on. It seems like this series is just all set on Tatooine, and that makes it feel like we're exploring the planet more than we ever have. So now whenever this series is over, we don't have to deal with Tatooine ever again. It's nice. I don't dislike being only on Tatooine. It's nice to explore it in ways that we haven't before. My big complaint for this episode is, of course, there's a little cringe, some bad choreography moments, and you know, that chase scene with the kids on the bikes and everything, that was like 5 minutes long. That was one of the longest chase scenes that were beyond predictable and very typical stereotypes of typical tropes that you would see in, like, movie making, where they go through a painting or they mess up the guy's cabbage stand. Like, that was really weird. And also, can Fennec Shand do something? The last thing on that, I want Fennec to do something. She has done absolutely nothing throughout this entire show so far. Can we get her a character arc? Can we see what she's going to do? For the most part, I did enjoy this episode. I know I've kind of harped on some parts of it, but I really did like this episode. I'm curious on what's going to happen next. I want to see the next episode, and for the most part, I really like Boba. I mean, the first 5 minutes of the show had me laughing, had me giggling. I like Boba as a character more and more as the episodes go on, and I'm very curious on what's going to happen. I want to know what the point of the show is, why Boba is doing the things that he's doing. I have a lot of questions going forward. So if you guys like this episode, please tell me why in the comment section below. What's your rating for it? If I had to give it a rating, I would give this episode a 6 out of 10. Above average, 5.5 is, or 5 out of 10 is average. So this is above average. It was fun, it's a good time, and I like the episode for what it was. But I did have my complaints about certain aspects of it. So thank you guys for watching. Leave a like on today's video to help me beat the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe for more content like this, and don't forget to check out Tatooine tonight, where we will discuss this episode more in depth. And show is every Wednesday night, so follow us on the official YouTube channel, as well as our social media accounts, as well as my social media accounts on Twitter and Instagram. Star Wars only. I'll see you guys next time, and may the Force be with you always.